So I'm pretty sure last night on Critical Role, Matt Mercer might have accidentally revealed the in-game of Critical Role Campaign 3. Hello everyone, welcome back to Fraud on the Telly. Join me today as we discuss everything that happened in Critical Role Campaign 3 episode 72, an episode where I believe Matt Mercer revealed the ending of Critical Role Campaign 3. Oh, and yeah, obviously, spoiler warnings. Okay, so if somehow you're new to this channel, obviously I am a massive Critical Role fan. I've been watching for a long-ass time now, all the way back since the very beginning of Campaign 1. But one of the things that I love specifically about Campaign 3 and what drew me in about Campaign 3 is the deep lore used in the telling of the story in Critical Role, as well as the mysteries and secrets and the many theories about what the fuck is going on here in Campaign 3. I love coming up with these kinds of theories, and in last night's episode of Critical Role, I got what I believe is confirmation to one of my theories as to what exactly is going to happen in the end of Critical Role Campaign 3. Before we get into all that, though, we need to do a little recap. So the main core plot point and kind of antagonist in the story of Campaign 3 is the nature of Ruidus, more specifically, the crazy god-killing, god-eating being named Predathos inside of it. Long ago, after the founding of Exandria, when the gods first arrived onto the planet of Exandria, before the split between Betrayer and Prime Deity, the gods were confronted by some strange being, some being from another world, perhaps. This being we know of now as Predathos. This being had the power to destroy divinity, and it did so, eating two gods, Ethodoc and Vordo. In response to this, Prime Deity and Betrayer alike combined with the elemental primordials to seal Predathos away, taking a chunk of Exandria and forming it into what we know now of as the Red Moon. As well, to the side of Predathos, we have another antagonist character, Ludinus Delath, the head of the Cerberus Assembly, an ancient elf believed to be about as old as the Calamity. This brings us nicely into the other main kind of core plot point that kind of is the overarching kind of theme of Critical Role Campaign 3, the nature between mortals and gods. Now, Ludinus is the main vehicle of the releasing of Predathos from the moon of Ruidus. We believe that his motivation is primarily stemmed from having lived through the events of the Calamity, the wars between the Prime deities and the Betrayer gods, and then seeing the damage that was unfolded afterwards. Ludinus, being a powerful mage, believed that we should no longer be controlled under the world of the gods on Exandria. This theme occurs a lot in Campaign 3. There's a lot of characters that question the relationship between gods and mortal. These themes have been present in all campaigns of Critical Role to some degree, but Campaign 3 is the main campaign that's really harped on them a lot, whether it's through just character decisions, dialogue, or just the general plot points overall. It seems like a lot of characters within the story of Critical Role Campaign 3 are very wary on the gods and the nature of the gods and the relationship between gods and mortal, many viewing the gods as almost not necessary. As well, this point is played upon even further in Exandria Unlimited Calamity, the kind of mini series that was done at the beginning of Critical Role Campaign 3 over the events of the Calamity, the Great War between the gods and the Betrayer gods that ultimately left 2/3 of the population of Exandria dead. Now, I've been saying this for a long time, but I theorize that Exandria Unlimited Calamity and Critical Role Campaign 3 are very much linked. In a lot of ways, the themes and information that were presented to the audience in Exandria Unlimited Calamity are basically just showing up again and again throughout Critical Role Campaign 3. A primary nature of it being the nature between gods and mortals. The fact that the Raven Queen was an ascended mortal who ascended to godhood, basically breaking the barrier in the minds of many of these people that the gods are any different from the mortals, making people wonder, why do we worship these beings, these gods, if at the end of the day, mortals are basically almost or potentially as powerful as gods? They have the capacity to be gods in and of themselves. This is basically exactly what Ludinus is kind of espousing in Critical Role Campaign 3, and it's been so interesting watching these kind of themes and these elements replay over and over and over again. So you might be saying, Fraud, what does all of this have to do with this big revelation apparently that happened in Critical Role Campaign 3 episode 72 that you're telling us about. You see, in episode 72 of Campaign 3, the party cast Speak with Dead on a number of the Paragon's Call, these kind of mercenary-esque figures that work under Otahan Thule, a very scary, Ruidus-born bad lady. During the Speak with Dead spell, Laura's character Imogen asks the question, what is the greatest threat to them, to the bad guys, to Ludinus and his crew? The character responds with the word unity and explains how they need to keep their enemies scattered in order for them to not, I guess, triumph over them. Now, at first, this seems kind of like a nothing burger. Unity could refer to so many different things. It could refer to, like, the army unity of the armies of Marquette. It could refer to the unity of the allied armies of Exandria. Hey.
Are you done?
It could be referring to the unity of Bell's Hells and the fact that our party got shunted to all different corners of the planet after the events of the Apogee Solstice. It could refer to a lot of different aspects of Unity. But you see, then it dawned on me, Unity is something that I've been talking about in Critical Role Campaign 3 for a long time, but not the unity of any of the mortals, the unity of the gods. Yes, I think that what Matt may have inadvertently told us here is that the only way that the Ruidus Predathos problem can be solved, the only way that the existential threat to the gods can be solved, is through the unity of the gods, or the unity of the gods with the mortals. And when you really start to think about it, it starts to make sense in a lot of ways. So we know that during the Apogee Solstice, communication between the gods and the mortals, and the kind of connection between the gods and the mortals, has been disrupted. It's not nearly as strong. We know that the gods have very much taken notice of all of the crazy shit that's been going on during the Apogee Solstice, as we even see minions of the Betrayer gods mobilizing to try to deal with whatever the heck is going on with Predathos, i.e. what we saw a few episodes ago, where our party encountered a servant of Asmodeus. Now, this champion of Asmodeus makes a deal with Fern, and very much indicates that his god, Asmodeus, is very much against Predathos and everything that Predathos stands for, which makes sense, as Predathos is one of the few things that can actually destroy, kill a deity, a god. This also very much calls back to EXU Calamity and the nature of the gods, specifically between the relationship between the prime deity and betrayer god that is very much shown to us from the view as Asmodeus in his talks with Xerxes. Even though we know that Asmodeus is the Lord of Lies and very much is manipulative, in EXU Calamity, Asmodeus explains to us that the relationship between his god brethren, the prime deities and the betrayers, was not always bad. In many ways, while the betrayer gods are evil and do horrific things, they are also semi-misunderstood if we are to believe Asmodeus in the slightest. At one point, though, the entire pantheon of gods seem to very much get along in some form or another. They refer to each other as brothers, as kin, often. Therefore, it very much seems that the future of Exandria seems to very much lie in the unity between the mortals and the betrayer gods and prime deities, all three together. Now, obviously, this is just a theory, but all of the themes and everything I've talked about here seems to very much, to me at least, bolster this idea, this kind of idea of the nature of gods in the world of Exandria and Critical Role, the nature of betrayer and prime deity, how they relate to one another, how their relationships relate to the mortals of Exandria, the fact that mortals themselves can ascend to godhood, the fact that Ludinus seems to be a character in many ways that kind of, with very fucked up intentions, is trying to mirror the Raven Queen. He is trying to bring about the killing of the gods, but in a way that would just make him the only god left. He would be the one of the most powerful beings left in the world, de facto making him a god. At the end of the day, though, this unity line could just be a complete throwaway line, and I could be looking way too deep into this, but in my opinion, these themes have been running through too deep within Critical Role Campaign 3 and EXU Calamity and just everything that's been going on throughout our story. These themes have been replaying themselves and repeating themselves for too long now that to me, it just seems like this is very much the case. I've been harping on about this for a long time, but they put EXU Calamity at the beginning of Critical Role Campaign 3 for a reason, because they wanted to introduce themes and story elements that were going to be relative later on in Critical Role Campaign 3. For now, I guess only time will tell if I'm correct, but I very much think that this unity theory of the gods, prime and betrayer with the mortals alike, is going to be the end game, the inroad for Critical Role Campaign 3. As always, though, these are just my thoughts and opinions, and I'm probably wrong about at least half of this. Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about my Unity theory. Do you think it's legit? You think it's got some credence, or you think I'm just out of left field? Click one of the videos on screen now for more Critical Role content. And as always, guys, I hope to see you in the next one. Drink your water, hug your mother. Until next time, peace, love, adu.